What's good? It's your boy Carceno here. Let's get to it, man. Patreons, just for y'all. I might put it on YouTube at another date and time. Now, I told y'all what really started the drama that went down up in up in the club. It was mad crazy. But Tupac and Treach had a falling out. Now, Pac and Treach, man, them brothers fought all the time. Like, they were fighting in the Bay, they fought. They were fighting. But mainly, it was because of Treach. At this time, Treach was one of the biggest stars in hip hop. So he had the big padlock around his neck with the chain. He always had some type of weapon around him. You know, like he used like his jewelry, but he used that damn thing as a weapon. So they have the Comedy Store incident, right? Where they get into it with what turns out to be actually one of the DJs and the guy that was with him. They actually are members or affiliated with the Rolling 60s. Now, at that time, Corrupt is young. You know, nobody, he's a young dude at this time, but him and Daz, they super young. This is an event where so many people were there. Eddie Griffith was on stage when it happened. It was Eddie Griffith there. Who was there that I knew? Because I'm trying to think. Was it Ant? I think Ant was there. So Ant told me, he told everybody, he wasn't just talking to me, but he was love to talk about this story because Pac was cool with everybody. Pac ain't had no problem. They wanted to get Treach because Treach was mad disrespectful. And it was something he said, like, nigga, F you. You know, Treach was, if he gets to the point where, if he feel like he being disrespected, it's going to get to a point where it'll get to the next level. And man, he didn't realize Pac gotta live here, dog. You know what I'm saying? And he don't have these type of beefs with these dudes. And you don't know LA like that. But they gonna fight because you there. So right by the stage almost, Treach and one of the two dudes, they come up to Treach and they talking. Then it's a whole bunch of people. Like they had moved the tables and chairs back. And people started coming up, like getting in the way, trying to hear it and trying to see what's going on. So they moved the chairs back and the table. People started trying to get in front of people. And they pushing like some of the women back. So Treach is with I think he with like, I don't know if the whole Naughty by Nature crew is there, but I know he was with about two dudes. And Man, when that fight started, uh, Vinny wasn't there. I don't think. I think it was just Treach and Pac that was still there doing the fighting. I think it was Pac, Treach, and one other guy. Like he never really gets mentioned, but it was one other guy for the whole extra brawl thing. But mostly it started with Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre had gotten into it at the comedy club when they played No Vaseline, the DJ. And that's when he went over there and broke the record, and that was a whole different, setting. This was something altogether, just a whole different night. And he's killing it on stage. And right when he get on stage, stretching them, because he tried to take control of it. Like, niggas, sit y'all asses down. Y'all got y'all money already. Yeah. He trying to make people laugh, but people were feeling really nervous because people were starting to come over. So I'm quite sure you've heard about the fight already. Tupac got a stool, like one of the little stool chairs that like the comedians sit on when they come on stage. Pac grabbed that and he laid one of these dudes out from the 60s. Now most of these dudes are trying to rush up to get to them because there's so many people in the crowd just trying to see what's going on. People can't really get there, so it's not like they being jumped all at once. But they was standing damn near back to back and said Treach was laying these dudes out with his fists. Then when multiple people started to get through to try to come there to fight, he took off the chain and swung it. And that's when he hit one of them dudes. And he said one of the guys who worked there security for the comedy store, that dude like gave a belly to belly suplex to one of them guys on a table. Then grabbed another dude, whop, laid him out, and they was just grabbing dudes and throwing them out. So somebody went and got a burner and started blasting at the comedy store just out of anger, you know. And man, it was crazy. At that time, Pac, Treach, they all leave, and it was like nothing had happened. They went back to the suite, to the hotel, and they talking about what went down. And man, I had the one dude, they all getting high, smoking, and all that. Then they find out, people on the street was like, yo, you hit homeboy, he related to Kingpin from the 60s. Like, you guys gotta understand. Y'all didn't just hit some nigga. Y'all hit some nigga who family is a somebody. Like it was like training day. He was a somebody. So it was like the 60s, they wasn't gonna do nothing to Pac. Cause this didn't start with Pac. Pac was just holding his boy down. So they knew like, okay, we ain't coming out to Pac. But my man got, his face messed up. Like y'all gonna cover his hospital bill for pain and suffering, street fee. We want like what did he say, like 25,000 or some. I can't remember the number, but it was a high number, and they didn't have that. So Pac said, "Let's go to their hood, Treach, and talk to them." Treach said, "Oh hell no, I'm not doing that." He said, "Let me go home, get my guys. Then when I come back, then we roll over there." He said, "Treach, I know these guys. The longer we wait, the worse it's gonna be. Let's go do this tomorrow. We ain't doing shit. Let's just do it." So, that wasn't happening like that. So Pac was Treach wanted to go home and get his dudes. They argue over this, like back and forth, arguing about how to do it and what to do and this and that. And he was, no, I'm coming right back. Let me just go get my guys. He was like, just tell them to get on a plane. You know, why you got to go back to get them, then come back? He was like, nah, because I got to talk to them the right way. You know, like I got to go over there and make sure they understand. You know, I got to go see people because we might not be coming back. So I got to go home. See, he was like, man, we good. Don't worry about that. Let me deal with all that. We gonna be good. They not gonna. He's like, listen, Treach, if they wanted to get you right now, they'll come bum rush the scene and snatch you up. Like it's not like that. It's a respect thing. So he said, we gonna have to go over there, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna mash this out. You know, whatever's done is done. It's over. So Treach didn't go. He went back home. So Pac was like, man, this nigga's scared. Treach went back home. Um, One of his homeboys went home, and those guys left. Pac the next day, or I think it was the next day or a couple days after, he saw a couple of the guys outside and was like, "Oh, hey, what's up, boo?" And he was hanging out there, and he saw one of his guys who, he was cool with Pac, even though he's from the '60s. He was like, "Look, tell them I'm gonna come talk to him personally, and you know what I'm saying, I'll be over there. I'll come to the hood and do this and that. We'll talk about it, what happened, and this and that. Squash this thing out." So some people felt a certain way who was in the '60s, like, man, let's just get these dudes. They was like, nah. So he ended up talking to Kingpin, and it was like all love. He kicked it over there all night. I don't even think they charged Pac nothing. They just let it go. It was a done deal. And after that, he was like cool in the '60s at all. Period. Like Pac had love over there. But Treach didn't come back, bruh. He's talking about we gonna come right back. Treach didn't come right back. And that was a problem. So when he came back, him and Pac had some words because he wanted to come back to an event that was going on that they was doing out there, and Suge don't really like Treach at all. Suge Knight was like, he ain't signing with Death Row. This is later when Pac was on the road. This was a whole different time and era. But it had changed. I was saying that at that point, Pac and Treach, they had their disagreements, but he knew Pac was pissed at him for leaving. But Treach was there with him at the hospital when he got shot. He was like one of the first ones there. Just went to the hospital, and it was security up the ass with the Nation of Islam. But he was there. So after this occurred, and he came and saw him after he got out of jail. Treach was already in LA for some whole other business. And they just did, I think, Down with the King or something like that. And he was writing at that time for Eazy-E. And Pac was in jail. This is way before the rape thing. This back when he was doing only if you want it, only if you want it. So this is back in '93. This is what he was doing down there the whole time. So he was cool on the set with the Compton Crips, like a mug. Treach was. He was like family over there to them. Now Pac is got no problems with no sides at this point. But the Compton Crips, they mostly hang out and cool with Treach. Suge didn't like Treach. He wanted him to join Death Row. And he was like, man, you come on over to the row. You know, you sign on over here and we do this Death Row East. And y'all come on over to the road, you know, y'all have a whole different situation. But since y'all want to sign them papers and y'all got y'all management, you know, what's he doing for you right now? You household name. Y'all been holding down hip hop long before Wu-Tang, long before Onyx. It was y'all holding it down. But now, cause see, we finna get Frederick Starr. He finna sign over here. He finna join the row. So you need to make your next move your best move. Come on over to the family. Pac vouch for you. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it. You know, you tell me what you want out your deal. You want to get rich? You want money? Tell me what you want out the deal. And I had you and Pac. Y'all could record an album together. Pac and Treach, everybody been waiting on that. Suge Knight was trying to convince him to come over to Death Row. But he was trying to get him away from Eazy-E. But when Pac got there, Eazy-E had already passed. Because Pac was in jail when Eazy died. So he remembered Eazy-E working with Treach was working with Eazy-E and and hanging out with them Compton Crips. So when Bone Thugs came out, he wasn't even dealing with. When Bone Thugs and Harmony came out, Treach had nothing to do with that whatsoever. Pop and the rest of those dudes were upset at Treach, but it was all love when he came and saw him. He knew Treach loved him, like that was his brother. So it's more like a disagreement than anything, but it was mostly about like, man, bro, you went home and you ain't come back. You know what I'm saying? Like you said you was coming back, you ain't even come back. It wasn't like I needed you to come back, but it was like if you would do that and break out and leave me like that, you know, even though you know, leaving me to walk in there by myself, what else would you do? So from that day on, Pac didn't, you know, it was different. It was real different. When he went home and didn't come back, like he said he was gonna do, it was different. It's a different feeling. They wasn't as close as they used to be. So I would just say that. So thank you guys for joining the Carceno for Life Patreon. Um, I'll say God bless all of you. We got plenty of more stories, man, from that era. It's man, it was mad crazy. I remember they had they told Easy E had told, I think Daz and Corrupt, he was trying to get them to split and leave Suge Knight and start asking questions about the money. But that's a whole nother story, man. We'll get into that later. I'm out.